Bob, we should do this for Ksuvas.
Hang on. All right. Wait. If you remember, everybody's going to be unmuted.
Oh,
all right, Bob, go ahead. I just unmuted you.
I can say something to Bob.
Right, exactly. I said, Bob, go ahead. Now you're unmuted.
Now, listen, on Zoom, I don't think that you can insult people on Zoom.
Oh, you can.
I'll box you out. This is like Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
Wait, why are you allowed to talk? I thought everyone was muted.
Yeah. Okay, now everybody's going to be muted. Hang on.
Now I'm unmuted.
Yeah,
okay.
you can't unmute yourself. Please don't.
I happen to love.
Goodbye, Beryl.
All right. Okay, it's about time. Igizman. I want to welcome everybody tonight to our wonderful shir. Rabbi Brick is going to be giving on Rav Soloveitchik with respect to global pandemics like COVID-19. Again, everybody is going to be muted by default. If you have a question, please use the chat function down at the bottom to send a message to everybody. So this way we can give our full attention to Rabbi Brick. And with that saying, if anybody is interested in the Mari Makomod, it is not going to be shared tonight on the share screen, but Rabbi Brick can give that to you after the share. And from what I understand, if my recording consult is working correctly, this should be available both via audio and video when we're done with the presentation, assuming Zoom doesn't have me exceed my 1 gigabyte limit. All right, with that, Rabbi Brick, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening. First of all, we should dedicate the shir and the ideas to it's supposed to be a refuah shleima for anyone who has the virus worldwide, of course, in our neighborhood, the Jewish and non-Jewish. I want to begin that although the topic is about Rav Soloveitchik's approach, it's only one idea. There are a few other inyanim that I really want to talk about. I was inspired really by something happened to me the other day. You know, when Beis HaMikdash was built and Shlomo HaMelech dedicated the Beis HaMikdash. So in the Psukim, the Malachim Aleph, it deals with not only the Jews, we come in there for everything we're being mispalel for, but also the Gentiles. They can come in and be mispalel and ask for different things that they need. The other day, I was going to buy hand sanitizer, and I walked into the local store around the corner from me. And as I walked in, the owner, who happens to be a Muslim, has to be a very frum Muslim, is still davening. He's like being mispalel, standing over there. And after he finished, and he turns to me and he said, he's very tearful. And he says, I have to tell you a story. He says, you know, in Mecca, usually we have millions of people who come there to pray, and there's only 50 people there today. And he said, when the leader of the prayer started to pray, there was one paragraph or one statement that the leader started to cry about. What was he crying? What was this? First he said in Arabic as if I would understand it. And then he interpreted. He said that, why is it that we do not appreciate all of the benevolence, all of the good things that you, God, have bestowed upon us? And he said, you know, this is true. We just never realize all of the greatness, all of the things that are given to us from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And you know, there are many people walking around, and there's some Rabbanim are giving, you know, pshatim of exactly why this virus is occurring. So the first thing I would say is Rav Soloveitchik never would have said anything of the sort. He wouldn't give you an idea, this is why. And the question he would have asked is, it's not a question of why something has occurred. That's something between the Kadosh Baruch Hu, but it's something, what can we learn from it? And I think that I wanted to discuss tonight is that a number of issues that we could learn in the sense of what we don't appreciate, that which we have when we are together. In fact, those of you who are doing Daf Yomi, just the other day, the Gemara said in Daf Yud Gimel Amud Beis, the Gemara said, who is a Tan Rabbana Mi Kosav Megillas Tanis? Who is the author of Megillas Tanis? Megillas Tanis is a list of all of the Yom Tovim and the Tanesim that we used to observe during the time of the second Beis HaMikdash. So Amr Chananya ben Chizkiah, V'siyasu and his generation, Shahayu Mechavevenes Hatzaros. They loved tzaros. What they mean, they didn't love tzaros. No one loved tzaros. It means that they appreciated the tzaros because when they saw the Geula, they understood that God was helping them. Amar Rishimon Megamliel Afanim Mechavevenes Hatzaros. We also. we have so many more tzaras and so many times more that God saves us, we wouldn't have, it would be such a large masechta. Dava acher ein shoten nifka. A shota, an imbecile, is never hurt. In other words, he doesn't realize what he had, what he lost, so he can't give the ace, he can't give to Hashem, he can't give Hakaras HaTov. He doesn't realize what he means, he doesn't appreciate it. So with that introduction, I want to talk about a number of things. The first idea from the Rav is talking about tefillah. And this I'm sure you've heard a number of times, either from my shiurim or other shiurim, but the Gemara, it's important to go over and to understand it. It's a new appreciation. There are certain things which I've thought about over the years, and these last few weeks, I greatly appreciate it. Bob Harris, mentioned, says, on Zoom, I can't insult anyone. There's no question about it. It's such something which is a loss, I miss the shiurim. I miss to be able to, come together. And yes, the banter back and forth, and I would say something and someone would laugh and they would hit me back with it. It's part of it, even now. I would like to unmute so that everyone could hear. We could joke with each other and talk to each other. You miss the camaraderie, you miss the 10-minute notice before the end of the shir on Shabbos afternoon. So Rav Shechter, who's quoting this Mipnei Harav, and it's a famous piece from the Rav. V'chisavo milchama ba'artzachem al hatzor hatzor eschem v'harosim b'chatzotzu v'niskatim v'nei Hashem lekechem. When there is someone, when an enemy attacks us, so you blow the chatzotzros and v'niskatim, and it's heard in front of Hashem. V'hi ha-mitzvah l'zok l'fanav b'tfilah hatzora shatova l'tzibur. This is the mitzvah that we have to daven. We have to be mispalo. V'yadua machlokas ha-Rambam Ramban, and we understand the machlokas between the Rambam and the Ramban and Sefer HaMitzvahs in the 5th mitzvah say, till the Ramban in chovas ha-tfilah da'oraisa ela be'etza. The Ramban says there's no mitzvah da'oraisa except when there's an eis tsar. U'chedemashim mitoch ha-psukim v'ilu l'das ha-Rambam ha-tfilah b'chol yom da'oraisa. The famous machlokas, Rambam says it's a mitzvah da'oraisa to daven every single day. And the Ramban says it's only a mitzvah be'eis tzara. This happens to be, according to the Ramban, you can appreciate a little bit more. I know, Bob, you have a yahrzeit this week, and Avrami, you have a yahrzeit. I have a yahrzeit on Tuesday. And the reason why we are asked to daven for the Amid on that day, the yahrzeit, because it's an eis tsar for the family. It's a yom ra for the family. So we have a chiyuv, l'chol hadayis, a chiyuv d'oraisa to daven, and therefore we're asked to daven for the Amid. Ubebir bepluksam zu kosav harav Mordechai Green sheyichya b'shem Rabbeinu, and Rabbi Mordechai Green, why he's quoting him, because the Rav also wrote it, why he's quoting it through him. What is the shoresh hamachlokas? What is the source? What are they fighting about? Amar Hagrid Levi, the Rav said, Hu bezeh sheladas harambam tzorach ha'adam lahagish b'chol yom shu chai v'rak b'chasar shekadosh baruch hu. Every day, someone has to realize that you're only living with the chesed of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. HaPoseach es yodav u'masbiya l'chol chai ratzon. That God is the one who opens his hands and supports us. V'im yiskara Kadosh Baruch es yodav, if he somehow closes his hands, chas v'shalom, azay ein lanu kiyam afila rega echad, then we wouldn't exist. Ho'ilu matzevu shel adam yochol l'shtanos, since man's matzav, in other words, where his condition can change or any second, Eifo ben rega, harei yesh chiyav l'spala b'chol eis l'chastei Hashem. The idea means what the idea that the Rav is explaining is the precariousness of man. Every day something could change. And I heard this over and over and over and over from the Rav. And now more than ever, I totally appreciate it. Here you are, all of a sudden, the virus comes. Everything is changing in our lives. Everything is different. And it so often is, and I remember 23 years ago, 23 years ago, I was trying to convince my father to sell his home in West Hempstead and to move, in Brooklyn and to move to West Hempstead. He loved West Hempstead. He said, I was considering, he says, tomorrow I'm going to the doctor. Let's see what the doctor has to say. Then we'll talk. And the next day was the day after Purim, and he found out that he had cancer, stage 4 cancer. Everything changed. Everything changed. This idea of tefillah, the tefillah that every day is be'ez sorrow, we take so for granted. Everything we have today, we assume is going to be here tomorrow. Everything we have now is going to be here next year. We're talking about, with this Pesach, we're going to go to the hotel, and next year we're going to go to Israel, and the year after that we're going to go somewhere else, and here we are. Everything changed overnight. We have to feel that everything that we have, our predicament, is never permanent. Haramban, it doesn't disagree, but the Ramban feels man doesn't feel like that every day. And therefore, only when he really feels be'ez tzara, therefore that's when it's a d'oraisa. And Rav Shechter points out, quoting the Psukim in Melachim Aleph, when they built the Beis HaMikdash, all the different times a person should be responding, all of them had to deal when you have needs, when you have a pega, when you have something that bothers you inside your heart, and you turn to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So that's the first idea. The first idea, I think, is the fact that tefillah itself, I heard something from Rabbi Albaum today, and it's worthwhile to listen because he really was speaking about, no other words, it's a chil Hashem, what's going on, the fact that we're getting together with minyanim and getting together at weddings. And he pointed out, he said, I don't understand, it's a suffix b'kuach nefesh when it comes to Bidocha Shabbos. Shabbos, right? We know it's Shabbos, if you're over, b'mezid, you get skila, right? It's a kares. And it's suffix b'kuach nefesh, Bidocha Shabbos. Tefillah, but tzibur, it's only in the Rabbanim. What are you doing? And he pointed out that there's something so interesting. And it's today we live in a time, there's so many segulas. Everyone does a segula for this, for that. On the chat, we were talking with someone said, I made challah yesterday. And my first reaction, what is that? Where did it become a mitzvah? All of a sudden, we're going to make challah, we're going to give the names. And it's like the skula, it's a skula. It's a skula to eat challah and get fat. Why don't I say, what is the skula? So he points out, he said, we're forgetting the basics. Tefillah, to be mispalel, to daven, to be part of something. That's the second point I wanted to bring out that the Rav said is also a very important point. The Rav pointed out that, with this famous Rambam, it says, Kishem just like we make a bracha when you have an apple, you make a bracha when you're having a birchas nenen. So you also make a bracha when you make a mitzvah, birchas a mitzvah. Very strange Rambam. And the Rav explained that, according to his understanding, those of you who just went through brachas, you remember in Daf Yud Beis, Rabbi Kiva Eger may have a different understanding of what's the purpose of a birchas nenen. It may be a birchas shevach, not like the Rav understands. But it seems that simple pshat from the Gemara is that the reason I make a birchas nenen is matir, right? Lashem ha'aretz ha'maloah. Everything belongs to God. Then it says Hashemayim Shemayim Lashem va'aretz l'sal v'nei Adam. So how do you mean? It's Lashem ha'aretz ha'maloah. What do you mean? How do you mean that now it becomes so bracha? Kan lifnei habracha, kan la'achar bracha. Once a person says a bracha, so it becomes his. So what's with the mitzvah? He says a mitzvah, you also need a matir. You also need a matir. We don't realize, what does it mean? He says it's a privilege to do a mitzvah. And we say this in tefillah also. When you're davening, you say, Baruch Sha'amar, what do we say there? Uveshirei David avdecha nehalelcha. We're using the shirim of David. Why? Who are you to come and be mispalel from the Kadosh Baruch? How do you come in? How do you have the audacity to walk into the Melech Malchei HaMelachim to ask him something? He says, you need a matir. You need a matir. You need something, a permission to walk in. My wife always laughs at me. She says, when you go to the Ohel, I want to get into trouble. When you go to Ohel, you're supposed to knock on the door before you go into the Ohel. So do you ever get an answer? So I said, why do you knock on the door? I said, this is the idea. It's a schus to daven, to be mispal on a makam tzadikim. We have to always take that. It's a privilege. It's mamish a privilege. And we don't take it we don't look at that. We don't look at it as a privilege. I have the ability to be mispalo to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Eish Kodesh, and by Parshas Amalek, Asher Korcha Baderach, right? What is Asher Korcha Baderach? The Lashon Kriras. Also, not this week's Parsha, next week YIWH, when he's talking about Bilam, he removes the aleph Vayakar because Kriras, coldness. What was Amalek trying to do? Amalek was trying to dampen our feelings, to dampen our emotions, to bring coldness into our life, in our avodas Hashem. When the Rav talks about a matir, I will say that one of the things also to learn about in our tefillah, at the end when the Siyam Hashas, and we were starting Me'emas, I had commented in a number of my shiurim that I think what it means, why does it start Me'emasai Korana Shema? From what moment do we start? And I think the idea is Me'emasai. From when? We're so happy. Me'emasai Korana Shema. Tell me the first minute. I want to be Mekabel O Malchusai. I want to daven. I want to come into the presence of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the way you're supposed to do a mitzvah. What is kriras? So we're all davening in the same shul. And we all know how often it happens. It's not just our shul. It's so many shuls. Every shul, they always have some people. This is the way it is. There are two ways. At 6:15 when mincha starts, there are those who clap and say, it's 6:15. Let's daven mincha. It's time. I don't even wait 1 minute. I want to start davening. And then there's the others that clap. 6:15. No, let's go. Because some other people, no, I'm not interested in davening. I want to get out. I want to finish. I want to get through this. It's a lack of understanding of the privileges that we have. And perhaps now one of the ideas that we should take also away from this whole thing, this is, Rav Wolbe, I'll go back to him. He said something really striking to me. He says, in certain ways, this machla is worse than the time of Haman. Why? Haman didn't close down the shuls. This machlish is closing down the shuls. I thought it's an interesting insight. That we can't go to shul, we can't daven, we're going to daven by ourselves. It's like you wake up in the morning, so you daven maybe when everyone else is davening, but you're davening in your own house. There's so many shilas going around. Oh, what about a video conference? Can we this and that? And daven together, and Rav Shechter or Paskin, no, if you have 10 people in one room and you daven, maybe you could answer or remain to a kaddish, but you see the problems of just losing out, that we're not together. We're not together. We're not the achdus. It's not that we're missing. And the tefillas that we took so for granted is 100 different minyanim, 6, 37, so for granted. You realize, halavai, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back together, to have everyone. The privilege of being mispalel, and to also understand to understand the precariousness of our lives. The third point I wanted to say, really also based on Rav, but I wanted to introduce also from Rav Chaim Shmulevitz and the Nesiva Shalom. The Rav understood based on Hagaz HaMaimoni, if you notice many of the Talmidim of the Rav, that during Chazaras Hashatz, they daven they keep their feet together. Why do they keep their feet together? Because it's a tefillah b'tzibur, which I found very interesting, based on this discussion. If you have a video conference, like a Zoom for over here, and let's say, can you now say Kaddish? We all daven together. So Rav Shachtas quoted the Rav, and the Rav had said, sometime the Beis Medrash is so full, so the people outside the door of the Beis Medrash, are they part of the tzibur? And the Rav thought about it, and then he says, they are Makayim a din of Tefillah b'tzibur, but those people outside, they can't say Kaddish. They're not totally part of the tzibur. They have the ability to say Amen, so we also could do that. If you have a video, but we can't say Kaddish. There is something about a tzibur together. What is the tzibur? What happens when there's a tzibur? So in legalistic terms, to understand what it means when it says that the person is a part of a tzibur, it means that it's like a corporation. It's a new entity. It's a new entity. It's a new bria. Yes, it consists of individuals, but you don't look at them as individuals. And I'll show you more when we get to the Nesivos is exactly what the Rav meant. Really something based on the Nesivos and something based on the Chafetz Chaim and its introduction to Shabbos. So Reb Chaim Shmulevitz from this coming week, well, actually he's from Kisisa, I'm sorry, but the Parsha Shkolim in Kisisa, and also adds to me an understanding, why do we start with Parsha Shkolim, right? Why Parsha Shkolim? Well, what does Parsha Shkolim have to affect? Yeah, it starts with the Adar, that's when they would make an announcement, fine, and that's when they collected money for the Beis HaMikdash. Or you could say very nicely, that's the Hachana, that's the Hachana for the builder, for the Geula, Shleiman will be able to build the Beis HaMikdash. Reb Chaim doesn't say this, but I think if you look at Reb Chaim Shmulevitz as Reb Kellermer's Rebbe, I think you'll see something very beautiful. So you couldn't give, everyone had to give a chatzi shekel. You couldn't give more, you couldn't give less. Kishem sheyesh lav shelo yamit, kamochein nema lav lo yavet. Just like you can't give less, you can't give more. Shnei masurim. Ki hamishkan yachol hibanos rak ayidei haklal kulo. What is the Mishkan? It has to be built by the tzibur. No individuals. You can't have anything. You can't have a plaque, dedicated by the Schwartz family. V'rak anu im hakol yishtatfu bebinyan hamishkan. If everyone is together in the building of the Mishkan b'shava, harehem klal echad. Then it's one unit. Avol min yarba echad afilu mashahu nivdalhu mihaklal kulo v'hu prat la'atzma. And then it can't be accepted. And he goes on, he says, the Yom Chanukas HaMizbeach Vayaviyas Karbonim Agola Al Shnei HaNesiim. Again, in Bamidbar, here we're dealing with in Parshas Baloscha with the Karbonis of the Nesiim. And it says over there, Agola Al Shnei, there had to be one Agola for two Nesiim. Why? Two princes. The Sforno says, Li'os Achva Beinehem Ashaba Yeruyim Shetishra Shechina Beinehem. It had to show for the Shechina to be shochen amongst them, to reside amongst them, there had to be an absolute unity. When someone is separated, that's what I mean. But koloma ein ashchina shora b'makom shekol echad hu prat la'atzmo. The tzibur, this is the concept, the third point I wanted to bring out. The importance of creating a tzibur, of being together, of not being separated. The Gemara increases, the Gemara Menachas. Dalad minam shebelulav. Shnayim mehem osin peiros. Two of the minam, they bear fruit. Ushnayim mehem ein osin peiros. And two of the minam do not bear fruit. Osin peiros, you use a kukan l'she'ein osin peiros. You have to make an aguda. You have to bring it together. Those that give the peiros, and those that do not give the peiros. That's how you're makayim the mitzvah. Vein adam yotzei ella biaguda achas. If you have it separated, then you're not yotzei. There is a concept, of course, you could bring one after the other, but let's say the mitzvah b'shlei musa. I would want to offer a pshat in this, what it means. The minhag of the brisker, the minhag of the Soloveitchiks is to say the bracha on the lulav right before Hallel, because that's the real kiyum of Netilas lulav is through Hallel. The minhag of the Zohar of Kabbalah is that you take the lulav and the esrog and you go into the sukkah, and there is when you're mevarach the lulav and the esrog. What is the pshat? Klal Yisrael has to learn how to be together. We have to say, all right, say he doesn't bear fruit. He's not the perfect Jew. There's something I saw this week, and I must say I was very much bothered by it, and I think it's wrong for us to say. They say, oh, what is this week's Parsha? Vayakel. And Vayakel starts with Shmira Shabbos. And this is going to be the first time in I don't know how many years. I mean, like we always said, and this will be the first time all of Klal Yisrael will be Shomer Shabbos, because in Eretz Yisrael they're going to be studying, they can't have the buses and the theaters and everything is closed. Must be the time of the Mashiach. And I was a little upset when I saw this. What do you mean? That's what this pshat means. Don't say that. This is not the time. They're over Hashem in their own derech, in their own way. And the Yagudah, when you bring everyone together, when you're saying you're going to be over Hashem, that's what it means to have a klal. Klal Yisrael means, yes, those who are more from, those who are less from, those who are over Hashem with all of them, and those who are over Hashem differently. And where do you go? You go into the sukkah. You want the Kadosh Baruch Hu. How do you want the Kadosh Baruch Hu to look at you? In your sukkah. So sukkah. So you know, Dofen Akuma, good asik, love it. You have a space, right? You have a space. Or you have the schach is not close enough to the walls. So Dofen Akuma is as if the walls make a left turn over it, and it's good asik, it is extended. What does that mean? What does that mean? Kadosh Baruch Hu, you want when the Kadosh Baruch Hu looks at us as individually, we all have a begam. We all have something wrong with us, but don't look at us like that. We don't want. So if you want the Kadosh Baruch Hu to look at you with all of your faults, then you have to look at Klal Yisrael and everyone's Acheinu Kol Beis Yisrael. There's one other point that he brings down before we get to understand really the beautiful, the Nesivos Shalom brings it together. The Amru B'Zorah HaKadosh. This is just priceless. V'lo saviru eish b'chol moshev seichem b'yom haShabbos. We have a number of gabayim on listening to the share, so this part is dedicated to you. V'lo saviru eish b'chol moshev seichem b'yom haShabbos. Don't bring a fire. Bo lahazir al hakas v'hamachlokas b'Shabbos. Shehein havoras eish. Shabbos brings out kas. Brings out what is he talking about? What is he talking about? You didn't give me an aliyah. You know, I have yahrzeit. I have yahrzeit for my grandmother. I have yahrzeit for this. I have yahrzeit for that. Yeah, you didn't give me an aliyah. Why didn't you ask me to daven? You're asking him to daven. He davened 3 weeks ago, and you get angry. You get angry, right? So that's the kas. Don't bring that kas. Don't separate. So what? You know, I always say this. Maybe there's someone from someone who's in the administration. I've seen it every single year when they ask me to give me an aliyah, and they want to give me a aliyah on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I said, "What? Are you already giving me a kibbud? I'm davening for the Yomid. You have to give me an aliyah too. Why don't you give it to someone else who doesn't have an aliyah? He's not getting anything." Recognize him. That's the idea of bringing a call of Klal Yisrael together. Everyone does what they do. The Lama Bezen, he said, this is unbelievable. You shouldn't have any separation. Everyone should together out any anger. I'm going to make it even more beautiful, sweeter. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, Kivan Shekos, he got so upset with the Klal Yisrael. Al Shahosira Nashim Ibnei Yisrael's Haman. Shekoach Loma Lehem Hilchos Shav Shocha. He forgot to tell him Hilchos Shabbos. Ki HaShabbos v'Hakas in Tartet Esasrei. You get angry, you forget to tell him the halachas of Shabbos. Uli Or had Devarim near the Farish Marmar because of Yom HaShvi Shabbos Shabboson. What does it mean? Shabbos Shabboson. By the way, this word Shabboson, this is where Dr. Sternal was shown came up with the idea of Shabbaton. Took it from this pasuk. Uperish Rashi, Menuchas Merugua. It has to be something. Regua means always with you. Something which is not. It's ragil. V'lo menuchas aray, not from one time and the other. There are those menuchas aray. Kavanah should be mindashus adam lo nishtaymi. Something. This is who I am. I'm always angry. Comes to Shabbos. Sometimes, all right, today I'm not angry. And he says, no, Shabbos Shabboson. This midah has to be eradicated from you. Why does it have to be so eradicated? Kas tells you when you get angry at someone, you get angry at this person. What are you saying? The Mesilas Yesharim explains when a person is angry, what are you angry about? Kadosh Baruch Hu is, this is what he wants. Oh, so what? This is how life is. He says, somebody you walk in, someone hits you. All right, say he hit you. There's a way to look at everything. Somebody can look at something. All right, so this is the way life is. When you get kas, you think God is not in control. You're also separating yourself from someone else. But what's the reason? What's the purpose? What is the beauty of having a tzivur? So comes in the Nesiva Shalom. The Nesiva Shalom says, Uva in Samamar on Shavuos. Uva ukulam bevris yachad na'aseh v'nishma. Omru ke'echad upaschu v'anu Hashem echad. Ha'achana l'kabolas ha'torah, how we're making, the Shazal says, al ha'posel v'yichan sham Yisrael, the Lashon v'yichan is what? One. Not v'yachanu, v'yichan. Shenema b'lashon yachad, b'leiv echad, ki ish echad. Habir b'zeh, the explanation is, yesh d'rago she'ena yachad yachal ha'sigol sam, ela b'koach harabim. There's certain things you cannot get as a yachad. And I'll explain to you what he's saying outside of just, you have to do this in the tzibur. And he goes on, Al-Dasa Niraki Habrisa Shekaras HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael B'Sinai was not with individuals, it was all of Klal Yisrael. What do you say? Bonim atem lashem. Not a ben, bonim, together. V'lochein rak acharei shehoyu b'nei Yisrael kulam b'leiv echad k'ish echad. They were zocher imohem brisa b'Kadosh Baruch Hu. And why is that? In fact, that's why he say the Shem Yichud. Not everyone says Shem Yichud, but the pshat of the Shem Yichud means B'Shem Kol Yisrael ki eich anu osem mitzvah ba'avarenu shabakanu b'hem. With a limb. If you look at the introduction to Hilchos Shabbos by the Chafetz Chaim, he talks about that every time a person does a chait in the future world, that arm, that part of your body becomes limb, becomes useless. A person doesn't put on tefillin, then it won't have use of the arm. And he says, so how does it work? All right, when you're Shomer Shabbos, somehow it cures it. The idea behind this, really, the way the Rav explained it was, when you go in as an individual, Kadosh Baruch has kindness on you. All of us as individuals. None of us are perfect. But Klal Yisrael has no pagam. Klal Yisrael, there was nothing wrong with it as a whole. Then it's perfect. Part of the idea of the perfection is, when you think about it, the Nesiva Shalom says somewhere else. He said that, we say, B'chol davar chayav adam liros esatzim ki hu yotzim in Mitzrayim. He says, what does it mean that we're coming out of Mitzrayim? What does it mean, yotzim in Mitzrayim? What does it mean you have to experience it at that point? How do you experience it? It's a wonderful, beautiful shot. What did Klal Yisrael do to deserve getting out of Mitzrayim? What? What did we do? We're on the 49th level of Tumah. Parshas B'Shalach, and the Meshech Chochmah has this whole discussion when by the Kriyas Yamsuf, the whole discussion when the Medrash says, the Malachim come in and say, what are you saving these people? Halalu b'nei avodah zarah, halalu b'nei avodah zarah. Everyone's over avodah zarah. There's no difference between them and the mitzvah. What are you saving them for? The pshat of the Nesivos was that when he says what it was, Kadosh Baruch Hu loves us. He loves Klal Yisrael with all the he doesn't see the blemishes. The idea, I think, to add to this, something to discuss also in the future time when we deal with the Haggadah. Why is it has to be that the relation between the father and the son, right, or a daughter, that you have Haggadah, you have to tell to your children the story. Why dafki here by this? So I think this is the idea of the Banim Atem Lashem, just like a child, just like a parent. So the child, he has no pagamos, whatever it is, I love him with all my, whatever he has. Doesn't matter. That's the way Kadosh Baruch Hu looks at us. It's the way we should treat our children, and that's the way the Kadosh Baruch Hu treats us. There's a certain ahava. And what is that ahava? Where does it come out? There's a concept of tzibur. It's a concept of tzibur. And that's the third or fourth idea I wanted to bring out. The concept of tzibur meaning is that we take it so for granted. We took it so for granted. And Baruch Hashem, we have a good life. Baruch Hashem, we have this, but the truth is we take tefillah b'tzibur, the fact that we have a shul, the fact that everyone can run to a minyan every single day. You go into Eretz Yisrael, I remember this. I hope I don't cry because it's such a beautiful idea. I am already. I think I was in Avel at that point. Yeah, I was in Avel, and I went down to south. I forget the name of. I was going to the area. It's called the Grand Canyon of Eretz Yisrael. I forgot exactly where it was, And I wanted to get a minion, and we come back into the town, and I go into a store, and I ask them, maybe we could get a few together. And next thing you know, hey, we had 10, 12 people. And we're looking for another guy. All of a sudden, out comes a bus. You see this driver come, no, he's honking his horn, wait. He sees that we're about to daven. He comes in. He jumps out of the bus. He's another person comes to daven. We start to daven. And after I finished davening, the silent Shema Esrei, I turn around, there must have been 50 Jews. I said, Bamish, everyone coming together to daven with Tzibur. We take it so for granted. And now that we don't have it, I heard that someone was talking about, Friday night, everyone go into the porch, and the Chazan, the cantor from the JCC is going to lead us in L'chadodi. They laughed. I hope he's not doing the old-fashioned L'chadodi, because then I'm walking back into the house. But it's just to hear this so beautiful. Oh, we'll all sing together L'chadodi. Everyone will be more than 6 feet apart. It'd be a beautiful idea. The next idea I wanted to mention is something which I heard from Rabbi Lau. Really, also, unbelievable pshat. We say in the morning, you have to ashrei, haluka hali nafshi, and if you notice, osem mishpat lasukim, noseim lechem l'ra'evim, Hashem matir asurim, Hashem pokeach ivrim, Hashem zokeh kefufim, and he's oev tzadikim, he's shomer es geirim, yosam v'amana ye'oded. Singular. Yasam v'yamana ye'oded. There, the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes particularly for the Yasam and the Yamana. Another idea to really learn this is to appreciate loneliness. We're all going through it. It is lonely. Shabbos, last week someone came over to learn for an hour or two, and probably shouldn't have done that. I don't think the Shabbos we will do it. It's not safe. But you understand loneliness now. What is the Yamana? You don't appreciate when you're younger. Baruch Hashem, we don't appreciate it whatsoever. You lose a father. 22 years ago, my father passed away. And all of a sudden, my mother became an Amana. Alone. You don't realize it's just like, and we always joked about it, she would, whenever I would call, I used to, I didn't call often enough. No one ever calls often enough for mother. I told her a joke once, and a son calls the mother, and the mother says, I can hardly speak. What's wrong, Mom? What's wrong? I'm not feeling well. What's wrong? I haven't eaten. What do you mean? So go to the refrigerator. You don't have any food? I'll come over and bring you food. No, I have food. I just haven't eaten. I haven't eaten in 2 days. Why haven't you eaten in 2 days? She says, just in case you called. I didn't want to have to be eating in the time so I could answer the phone. It's a story you don't even realize. I don't. It's no political agenda or. I just want to say, for men, for us, we go to shul. We go to shul. You get in the league, you get recognized. You get up to daven, you get up a shir, you give this and that. Our center is shul. The woman is not. Her center is not in the shul. So often she's not there. She's at home. All of a sudden. And she's recognized too often because of who her husband is. Correct. But because of that, all of a sudden when the husband is out of the picture, she's an Amana. She's alone. Who remembers her? And you realize how difficult. And a Yasam, I'm a Yasam. Yeah, I'm 62 years old, I'm a Yasam. You know what that means, a Yasam? When something happens good to you in your life, or something bad, what do? First thing I did was call my parents, call my father. And then after that, I called my mother after my father passed away. When you become a Yasam, there's no one to call, except, of course, your family, your wife, it becomes. But when something goes wrong, as long as you have a parent, everything is done. They'll somehow be there to help you. But all of a sudden, they're not. So you're all of a sudden you're alone. The loneliness, that's an idea that really we should take home from all this. We have to learn to understand, to appreciate not only the Yamana, not only the Yasam. That person in shul that is never recognized. That person that seems to be a little strange. The person that doesn't seem to have so many friends. the rabbi always talks about it, every bar mitzvah boy, that kid in the corner. That's the way we have to start thinking about the adult and different people, to have feel for them, call them, and also to call each other up, to give each other the ability to feel that you're not alone. But on that note, I want to say we're not alone. You're not alone. 2 more ideas, then we'll finish. So one idea is that we're not alone. When you're learning Torah, person sits down and takes out a Gemara. Rashi, Tosfos. You have the Rush, you have the Ran. A person opens a Chumash, you look at all the Rishonim, you go through the Achronim. Whatever it is to learn. And Baruch Hashem, today you have Art Scroll, you take out in English, you go through it, has all the explanations. The Rav once explained to it, and I've said this many a time, the Rav is very melodramatic in his teaching. But he said it so beautifully. He says, when I go to learn, and ever since I always feel this, when I learn, I also feel this way. I feel like the presence of the Rav and other Rishonim, not other Rishonim, just other people coming to learn. The Rav described this as, when I sit and learn, I feel like, Reb Chaim, my grandfather comes in, my father is sitting with me, and he's listening to me, talking to me. Then comes the Rambam, and he's arguing with the Ravid, and then Tosfos, and everyone's arguing back and forth, and the Shulchan Aruch paskins this way, and the Ramah paskin, and comes to Rabbi Akiva again, and he asks a question to knock them all off. This is part of who we are. That's Klal Yisrael. Person can be living by himself, and he can feel part of Klal Yisrael through Torah. That's what binds us all together, through Torah. It's something now to also to yes, it's long. Shabbos gets a little bit lonely. It is lonely, especially these long days. It's Shabbos is going to be over. What's it going to be over? 20 to 7, 20 to 8, right? 10 after 8, quarter 8. For those who hold Rabbeinu Tam, remember last week I was like, can't wait. So looking at the clock, can't wait. I'm tired. I want to put it on TV. I want to have interaction with others. But that's Torah. That's you're not alone. It's sometimes to realize the greatness of who we are and what we can accomplish. But I wanted to end with something, with a story that Rabbi Lieberman from Chabad sent around, but it's very, very true. Everyone is talking about, maybe we should change the halachas and maybe come up with different minhagim. Maybe now we could paskin l'kula and allow people to go through the videos and the Zoom and have a minyan together. And without commenting, there are different shittas. Maybe it'll be one way or the other. I don't know. And I was talking to someone today, and he said to me, "What are you doing for your side?" I said, "Nothing I can do. We're not going to have a minyan, and I'm not going to go find a minyan. I think it's wrong. That people, and I understand Reb David Cohen wrote a psak halacha that it's also to daven with the tzibur today. All right, David Cohen is saying that, and Rav Shechter was clear. He said, "I don't understand the shaila. I don't even understand what you're talking about." So the story goes that Rabbi Zisha and Rabbi Elimelech Noam they were walking. Chassidim, the rabbis used to like to dress down, to pretend that they were paupers and see the Umas Olam out, and also the Jews, how they dealt with something. And somehow they got caught up in the wrong group and they got arrested. That's the minhag Chassidus. A Rebbe there's a story of the Rav and the Rebbe. The Rebbe was arrested in Berlin in Purim, I think in 1923. And the reason why he was arrested because he was preaching revolution. He preached revolution in Torah, not revolution. So the Rav bailed him out of jail. And when he bailed him out of jail, the Rav turned to the Rebbe and said, now you can become a Rebbe. So anyhow, so in the middle of jail, and Rabbi Melech gets up and he starts getting ready to daven mincha. I guess he's putting on the gartel. So Zisha says to him, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm going to daven mincha." He says, "You can't daven mincha. The smell here is abhorrent. You're not allowed to daven in a place like this." So he sat down and he started to cry. He says, "What are you crying about?" He says, "I can't daven mincha. I can't daven mincha." So Zisha looks at him and says, "That's the halacha. Kadosh Baruch Hu is telling you that's the halacha. You don't daven mincha now. What are you upset about? Your avodas Hashem is not to daven mincha. That's what it is." And they say, the story goes on, that they started dancing together, and the guard said, "What's going on over here?" He says, "I don't know. They were going to daven and this," and I heard all right, if that's the way, I'm going to take away the pail, if that's what makes them happy. You know, that's also a Musar Haskell for us. Enachinami. For whatever reason, we don't know why this tzara has such a machla for the entire world. And we hope in Heyrav Yameinu, this discussion today, maybe they discovered some kind of a cure. Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. And in Mi'etz Hashem, we will get through this. We will get through this. We're going to somehow, the cure or the disease will leave us. It's not something which is, but the idea behind it we should always remember. And maybe right now, the avodas Hashem, this avod, not to daven b'tzibur. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the idea is that you spend more time by yourself. Take a little bit more time, not to depend on somebody else to daven, not to have some other beautiful voice to be mashpia you, to bring you out into the world, and to have an emotion. Maybe the emotion has to come from within, a little bit more from within. Maybe that's an idea. I'm not saying what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants from us, that this is the cause, but this is the idea. So I think just to sum up what I was trying to say is, number one, the ideas that we should remember is that the precariousness of our situation. It's a difficult years and difficult year, and you all of a sudden you lose family members, you lose parents, sisters, brothers, children, and you realize how life can change mamash overnight. And you have to realize that, and the privilege that we have to daven, to do mitzvahs, to be in an avodas Hashem. And we have to do it with a certain hislavos. We have to do it with the desire and wanting the avas Hashem, and not to look like a masui. Not to look, no. Let's finish it up, and to understand the beauty of the tzibur of Klal Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu loves us. He loves us as a tzibur. He loves us as a klal. What he doesn't want to see is an ad to say that these people, they're not from, they shouldn't be part of it. At Erev Yom Kippur, the only way we can walk into the Kadosh Baruch Hu to ask for kapara is with the tzaddikim and the Rishon. Can't go in by yourself. Can't go. God's not interested. I'm not interested in listening to a tzaddik. I want to hear from the Rasha. I want to hear from the person who's not so from. And we keep on saying this. And we don't. Sometimes I think we don't even believe it. We hear so many oftentimes. And when it comes to the Rebbe always used to say this, and Rabbi Kellemer says this so often. And bringing in Rabbi Kellemer, just a mussar for all of us. A few years ago, right? All of a sudden, the news gets out. There was an accident. I mean, I'm sure all of us felt, and I know I felt, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What kind of a life? What do you mean? The Rabbi Keller's not here? Who am I going to my shilas to? Who's going to dance at the chasana? Every chasana, and this week of the chasanas, you have to feel for all of the chasana and kalas. Although I told my daughter, maybe she should get married this week to be a little bit smaller, save some money. But it's like, the chassan, you feel bad. There's something that they want to have and people are not there. And we look forward to a chassan with the rabbi now. He comes with a walker and jumping up and down. That's the simcha that we look forward to. The precariousness of life. That tomorrow everything can be gone. And we can't take it for granted. You have to be mispala and ask the Kadosh Baruch Hu over and over and never to give up. And I think the other most important thing, yes, the story to be in our avodas Hashem, sometimes our avodas not to. But I think the most beautiful idea from a Rabbi Lau, just magnificent. I never thought of this. Simple pshat. Yasam v'yalmana yodei. To think of the person who's lonely. And this machla has given us all a taste of what it means to be on our own, what it means to be without a tzibur, without friends. He writes, and I can't wait to get together. We come together, we go back to shul, and we have the shiurim. And Bob Harris, I promise, I'm going to keep on making fun of you and everyone else. I'm going to still making jokes. It's part of it. It's part of the fun. The fun of tefillah, the fun of Torah, the fun of shir, the fun of being part of Young Israel and every shul in the olam. The fun of it is that when we come together and we say good Shabbos and we have a kiddush together and we have a shir together and we make fun of each other, but really with ahava, that's life, and that's perhaps the message. Perhaps the message that Kadosh Baruch Hu is giving us, and definitely the message we should take home with us. The message is to realize, it's going to happen again. And I promise you, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I can't wait, because when it comes again, I'm going to come to Shul, and I'm going to come to the tzibur, I'm going to come to the chevra, I'm going to come to all of the friends, I'm going to come to a wedding with a simcha yisera, with an unbelievable joy and simcha of being part of Klal Yisrael. Refuah Shalema. What do I do?
Yeshikach, thank you so much, Rabbi Brick. Wonderful. Just to let everybody know, I got a message from Rabbi Sonaker. I just sent it around on the chat. They're doing Tehillim now for Mr. Jack Petrushka, Yaakov Ben Rachel. If you want to catch it now, obviously you could go to another Zoom session. If not, though, we'll still stay open if anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, everybody should, hang on, I'll mute everybody in case anybody does. Now it says all participants are unmuted.
Okay.
Okay, guess not then. All right, wonderful. So anybody? Okay, good.
I had a thought yesterday about it. Tefillah b'tzibur. The tzadi is for a tzaddik, the beis is for a benoni, and the reish is for a rasha.
Oh, very nice.
They all combine together. B'tzibur, it's not. They don't stand alone.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. All right. Good night, everybody. Hope we'll do this again.
Shabbat shalom.